How to Actually Dominate on YouTube in 2026 by Colin and Samir. This massive 157-minute conversation is a masterclass in YouTube strategy, creator business building, and the personal costs of entrepreneurship, featuring Samir Shori, one half of the duo behind one of the biggest creator economy channels in the world. What makes this episode special is that it goes far beyond surface-level tips into genuine philosophy about creative work, audience building, and what happens when you lose everything you worked for. Section 1. The 3 rules of YouTube and why packaging is 80% of success. Samir opens with a framework that should be tattooed on the wall of every creator's office. The 3 rules of YouTube are: if they do not click, they do not watch. Respect their time. Give them more. The crucial insight is that YouTube is not a video platform, it is a click and watch platform, meaning every viewer has to actively make a decision to click. This makes packaging, meaning title and thumbnail, not just important but the overwhelming majority of what determines success. Samir argues that 75 to 80% of your time should be spent on packaging, because otherwise you are spending 80% of your time making something nobody will ever see. He introduces the concept of the curiosity gap, which is the distance between the information presented to the viewer and the information they want to know. A great example is Veritasium's thumbnail of a sea of black balls on a reservoir with the title "Why are there 96 million black balls on this reservoir?" It is simple, not over-designed, but the curiosity gap is irresistible. The biggest mistake creators make is having the title and thumbnail tell the same story. They should be complementary, but separate. The thumbnail might reveal one unexpected element from a list, creating an incomplete story that demands a click. The hosts discuss a critical distinction about titles and thumbnails. They need to win on a standalone basis, not just make sense when paired together. The worst thing you can do is write the 3 rules of YouTube as both your title and your thumbnail text, because that is wasted real estate that closes the curiosity gap instead of opening it wider. Section 2. The identity, emotion, action framework for every piece of content. Samir shares a powerful framework that Colin and Samir use before creating anything. They write 3 columns on a sheet of paper: identities, emotions, and actions. Identities is your ICP, who exactly you are trying to reach. Emotions is what you want them to feel, whether that is educated, empowered, entertained, or a sense of community. Actions is what you want them to do after watching. For Colin and Samir, they coined the phrase press publish because they want aspiring creators to feel educated enough to go press publish on their ideas. This framework acts as a filter for everything, and it reframes the view count conversation entirely. It is not a bad thing if only 2,000 people watch your YouTube video, so long as that is part of building a tight-knit community that serves your actual goals. Sean from Ridge told Samir that for their channel, the more views, the worse the video, because their total addressable market is small and they want a sticky, valuable audience. YouTube is an extraordinary platform for business owners precisely because it builds depth with a community that no other platform can match. Section 3. Research your niche before you launch and how the algorithm actually works. Samir's research process is deceptively simple but incredibly effective. Type your niche into YouTube search. Look for every video with over 100,000 views, then 1 million views. Build a spreadsheet with the title, a screenshot of the thumbnail, view count, channel name, and personal notes about what makes each one work. After an hour of this, you will see the visual language of your niche. You will understand what titles perform and what thumbnails look like. This niche audit is the foundation of any successful YouTube strategy. He explains that YouTube is fundamentally a recommendations algorithm. Content gets discovered through browse, which is opening YouTube and seeing thumbnails, and through suggested content on the right side of the screen while watching something else. This means your content has to fit into a category and genre on YouTube. You are not producing content in a vacuum. You need to be empathetic to how your audience will actually discover your stuff. The long tail on YouTube is absolutely insane compared to any other platform. When you complete a video, you are putting a book on a shelf in a library. Someone can walk in 5 years later and enjoy it. For business owners, this means YouTube AdSense becomes compounding monopoly money over time. Section 4. The modern podcast is built for Instagram. First, one of Samir's most provocative claims is that the modern podcast of 2025 and 2026 is built for Instagram first. His evidence is compelling. The number 3 podcast on the charts at the time was Subway Takes, which is fundamentally a short-form show where the host sits on the subway and asks strangers for their takes. It is built for shareability on Instagram, and then the longer 15-minute versions go on Spotify and YouTube. A piece of content on Instagram is a unit of conversation. For it to do well, it needs to get sent in DMs. When was the last time you pressed share on a YouTube video? Probably never. But Instagram's sharing drives massive distribution. The conversation touches on how Twitch streamers are the most culturally relevant creators because viewers can interact with them in real time, like a video game. This principle of interactivity is shaping the future of all media. People want control over their media consumption. Those who understand this will build at scale. Section 5. The business of creators, sponsorship pricing, and working with brands. Samir gets remarkably transparent about the business side. He describes how Colin and Samir simplified their sponsorship approach to a clean deck with just a few pages. Who they are with social proof from Neil Mohan, the YouTube CEO, saying no one knows more about the creator economy, Marks Brownlee calling them your favorite creator's favorite creator, then the menu of what you can buy with clear pricing. They stopped doing custom packages and one-off deals. The result was transformative for their business because it eliminated the exhausting back and forth of negotiation and let them focus on the show. His philosophy on pricing is refreshingly direct. He flat rates everything, tells sponsors the price up front, and if people say no, then they are not good enough yet to command that pricing and need another way to make money until they are. He pushes back hard on sponsors who treat creator integrations like Facebook ads expecting direct attribution. Creator sponsorships are top-of-funnel billboard association, not bottom-of-funnel conversion tools. They stopped selling one-offs entirely because a single integration does nothing. It has to be a portfolio, like introducing a new friend to your friend group. The first time they hang out, they do not really connect, but if they keep coming back, eventually they become part of the group. That is how creator sponsorships build brand equity. Section 6. Losing everything in the Palisades fire and what it taught about money and purpose. The most emotionally powerful section comes when Samir shares the story of losing his home in the Palisades fire. He is the son of 2 Indian immigrants whose family was displaced during the India-Pakistan partition, so displacement was already woven into his family story. After 14 years of entrepreneurship, he finally achieved his dream of buying a house in the Palisades, the community where he grew up. He and his wife spent a year gutting and redesigning it. They finished on December 5th and moved in. His first child was due January 25th. On January 7th, while hosting a summit in Mexico with Kevin Hart on stage, his dad called to say there was a fire. His phone started buzzing. He pulled it out and saw a video of his house burnt down. For his house to be gone meant the whole town was gone. He flew home to a wife who was 8.5 months pregnant, a hometown that no longer existed, and every belonging he owned reduced to ash. The lesson he draws from this is devastating and beautiful in equal measure. He says, "What a lesson that I chased money for a long time, then I took all that money and I built a house, and it burned down." What a metaphor. It forced him to confront what actually matters. The experience did not break him, it clarified everything. The entrepreneurial identity, the accumulation of wealth and possessions, all of it was rendered meaningless in hours. What remained was his family, his relationships, and the work itself. Section 7. Brand versus viewership, the danger of empty views, and creative integrity. Samir makes a crucial distinction between brand and viewership that most creators miss entirely. He shares that one of their shorts did 44 million views, and he and Colin looked at it and said these are empty views. They got into a world where brand and viewership are confused. High view counts do not equal a strong brand. A creator can have millions of views and no real connection to their audience, while another can have modest numbers but incredible depth and loyalty. He also discusses the emotional toll of YouTube metrics. A video that got 80,000 views felt like a failure to his team, even though that is an enormous number by any normal standard. He calls this relative zero, where you judge your work against an internal benchmark and feel like nobody watched. The Chinese microdramas episode completely tanked on YouTube, but did 1.4 million downloads on Spotify, making it one of their best-performing episodes ever on that platform. Meanwhile, YouTube comments said Colin and Samir fell off. The pressure of being positioned as the YouTube guys means every experiment that does not hit creates public judgment. Key takeaways: YouTube's success in 2026 is overwhelmingly determined by packaging, with 75 to 80% of effort going into title and thumbnail before a frame of video is shot. The curiosity gap between what is shown and what viewers want to know is the single most powerful tool for driving clicks. The modern podcast is built for Instagram first, with shareability driving distribution more than any algorithm. Creator businesses should simplify their sponsorship model to flat-rate pricing with clear packages, treating integrations as long-term brand association rather than direct attribution. The long tail on YouTube is unmatched by any platform and represents compounding value for every video in your library. And sometimes, the most important creative lesson comes not from a framework or strategy, but from losing everything and discovering what actually matters. As Samir puts it, he chased money, built a house with it, and watched it burn down. What remained was the work, the family, and the clarity that comes from starting over.